Greetings, welcome back to PinkOddBird. Today I'm here to share a couple of art pieces that I've made for you, so let's go ahead and take a look. So as you can see, we've got a lot to go through here today, so I'm going to try and make this video as short as I possibly can. I have two books that I've made, and these books are in a theme of kind of like a dark spring. And I decided to make these because I wanted to sort of document the times that we're living in. And I would say that I document eras and times and moments with art more than I do with writing. And so this is kind of my way to document this strange spring that we're kind of going through currently. And so these are my dark spring books, and they are sort of a semblance of what we're going through as far as the pandemic and all of the things that are going on. And aside from the fact that it is spring, but it doesn't really feel like spring because we can't go anywhere. We have all of this safety measures in place. And so it's just an unusual spring, and these don't come by often. So I wanted to have these as more of like a period art kind of moment. So I have a traveler's notebook size, and I have a regular large size book here. And this book is really, really large. So we're going to start with this one, and then we'll get into this one. I'm going to be sipping my coffee as we talk about this. So, like I said, I really just wanted these to be an interpretation of exactly what's going on. It's literally just like an art form of the times that we're living in. So I would like you to know that I created this with a lot of thought and a lot of respect. And I felt like this would be kind of a way for me to close this chapter, even though this pandemic is still going on. It's still an ongoing thing. But I felt like this project was the closure for me because, as you know, in the month of April, I pretty much took the whole month off to make masks, and I started making masks, and then there were people who wanted to help. So I received lots of donations from my YouTube friends, my Instagram friends, and my Facebook friends. And so I was able to make a total of just about 300 face masks. They were all donated out since all of the supplies were donated by you. And so thank you so much for that. And the people who have received these, the essential workers, healthcare workers, at-risk people, and just everyday people who need to go out and provide for their families, they all thank you as well. And I had posted constant updates on different platforms in the stories. So I posted updates on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook stories. So you would be able to track the progress. And my mom also helped me out with that. And she's actually continuing on making a few more masks. So thank you to my mother as well. So I definitely just wanted to say that and let you all know that there's very much gratitude on so many different levels. And it was awesome for you guys to want to help me help others. And so by you helping me, we helped countless people. So thank you. So on to the books today. This book is 8.5 by 5 3/4, and the spine is 3.5 inches, maybe 3 3/4. It's a huge book. There are 4 signatures in the book, and I decided to give this book, not make it as like tight as I naturally would make my books. And the reason why I did that is so that the signatures would have flexibility, because I knew this was going to be a big book. And I also didn't do a hollow back spine on this one because the signatures are super heavy. So I just didn't want that stress on the book this time. So here's the spine. I've just layered up some of my laces. Some of these are my vintage laces here. Some of them are contemporary, like this and this. Here's the back. And the way that I decorated this is I wanted the black to show because it's the darkness. And then I wanted these little patches of color because that's the undertones of spring. So I wanted it to be sort of like a battle between spring trying to bloom and the darkness, this, you know, the darkness trying to smother out spring. So that's why you're seeing pops of the pastel spring colors and then also the dark colors. So here's the profile view. On the front, I've just added the word beware. I used a Tim Holtz frame and I've just layered some different textiles behind. I love these little leaves. This is the back side of the leaf, but I think this back side is more vibrant than the other side, so that's why I chose to put it upside down. And then we have Lady Spring inside of here. You can shimmy her out if you want to, but I thought it was kind of perfect to have her here on the cover because she's just, you know, very spring-like and then surrounded by the cabinet card. Very symbolic. The closure is, I believe, Liesel. Did somebody say paper? I think she is the gal who shows you how to make these, but it's just a double clip to hold it closed. And then there's a couple of jewels on it, and then the little flower here. At the bottom of one of the signatures, I just added a few little beads just to kind of coincide with the green and the black from the cover. Here we go. Okay, so opening up, the first thing that we have over here is this is a vintage glove, and this is, it's like a fancy glove. I only had one, and that's why I was okay with putting it in here. I also had to cut it because it was one of those really fancy gloves that goes all the way down to like your elbow. So this glove is symbolic of obviously us having to be careful of what we touch, and also people who were not disposing of their gloves properly. But I thought that this would be kind of fun to add in here because it's a vintage glove, and I've just encased it in some upcycled packaging, and I put found objects down here at the bottom, and you can just flip it over. And like I said, this is like a leather, I believe. I got it at a thrift store, and I just thought it was kind of interesting that you can see she probably wore these to someplace very fancy, but even so, her hands still got dirty. So then you have this little space back here for adding whatever you want. So I've just added in just little things that symbolize the times that we have. So like we're at home a lot now, so we have a lot more time to spend with pets and things like that. So that's why those are in there. I have left space for you to add glue things in, but this book is really not really, neither one of these books were technically made to be written in, although they can be. They were more, like I said, just art pieces is what the intention was for these. So these little Gothic words came from Priscilla at ReleasetheCraftin, and I forgot to mention I am using her creepy spring digital kit, and I've used several of her other kits in this book in particular. The Traveler's Notebook is mostly just the creepy spring. So check out Priscilla at ReleasetheCraftin because she's got super amazing digital images for the dark lovers. And these Gothic words, and I am going to be using these for several projects to come. Okay, so here, just a little image, and this lady is obviously sick in bed, and he's talking about drugs and medicine, high and low. I threw them as far as I could throw, but you can see here kind of what's happening. Just a greeting card you can use to send to someone. So these are some more of Priscilla's images. So here I just have a little skull charm, and like I said, I really wanted that juxtaposition of the like skulls with the bright colors, so always trying to have those dark and light elements kind of battling. So here, just an envelope from the kit. Also, I almost forgot. There's these little letters, and there are a total of 6 kind of little cards like this, and it's kind of like a word scramble or word descramble. So as the book goes on, you'll be able to see these little cards and they spell something out. And then whoever gets this book will obviously be able to know what that word is. So I did some collaging, and I did add a lot of map pages in here as well because we're not able to travel. So here, just a little due date paper. You can write on the black cardstock with gel pen. Some more collaging. I did do some backgrounds with acrylic paint. And I have some Edith Holden pages here. Here, I thought this looked like a little schoolhouse, and so I used my charcoal pencil to write "School is out." The charcoal pencil is like, you know, it's charcoal. So if you touch it or smear it or smudge it too much, it will probably eventually go away. But I wanted to have that like smudgy, grungy, messy look, and so that's why I used the charcoal pencil. So here are these jumbo tags I love that come with the Creepy Spring kit, and I backed them on the coffee stained paper that she has. And this here is eco dyed fabric that I got from Shelby. There's a little charm here at the top. I used a couple of flashcard words that like around. No, because we can't go anywhere, so I thought that was kind of perfect. So these images are just great because you can see like the greenery, and then I'll link to her whole shop because, like I said, for this book I combined kits because different elements were like so perfect for exactly what I was trying to do. So here I have a little cluster, and Priscilla's been actually making these on Instagram, so those were inspired by her. So I don't know if you know of the song called "Apocalypse Please" by Muse. I was listening to that song, and that was kind of another inspiration for these books. And so in each of the signatures on each of the books, I have scattered out lines from the verses. So, and this is also in charcoal pencil. So this one says, "And it's time we saw a miracle." So I just tried to do some really like off the wall stitching and stuff because I wanted it to be really like unusual. Like naturally I would have just lined this up on the page, but I wanted it to skew off to the side on purpose. This is Priscilla's Dark and Stormy paper. I love this paper. I didn't do anything additional to this. It's already like been coffee stained and dyed, and you can see how these are the pages that I dyed, and these are the ones that come with the Dark and Stormy kit. And so I love these papers so much because they're just great, and you can still totally write on these and it'll show. Okay, I need to go faster, don't I? We're only on the first signature. So here we go. There's the middle of the first signature. Added this little vellum piece in because flights. These are, I thought these are great because these are from a lady's estate. She's the lady who drew the house plaques as a hobby, and these are her little tracing paper drawings of butterflies. So I thought these were really perfect for this book. So here, unearthly is the Gothic word, and there's another one of those word letters. The scraps that I used on the edges of the book here are dipped in black acrylic paint because I wanted to tone down the brightness of the colors. And also, these are the scraps from the face masks that I made for last month. And so you can see even in the shapes here, these are from when I was cutting out the patterns of the face masks. So that's what this fabric is from. It's a little image of, I feel like it's not focusing today for some reason, the plague. I have these book pages, and They had some unusual stories on them. Was there a horse with wings? So I put a page of this in each of the books. I just, like I said, wanted to have some unusual things in these books. Another one of her tracing paper butterflies. Some more of that mask fabric with the black paint. Here I've used these little clear things that I got from Crafty Irina, and I put dried flowers onto the dark and stormy paper, and then I used the charcoal pencil, and here it says stay home. Again, I wrote it like really scratchily. I don't feel like this is the kind of book that you want to write like really nice and pretty and elegant in. Like if this was your book, if this was my book, I'd have like a big black Sharpie and be like, rah! But that's just me. So over here, there's a little trivia book page. People are really getting back in tune with like board games and playing games with family and having family time. So I definitely wanted to add a lot of like board game elements in here as well. So up here, this is just one of those like layaway envelope kind of things. And I've just used some Tim Holtz wallpaper on the front and the Tim Holtz. These are like the snarky or sassy, I forget what they're called, the more sassy clippings that he has. And then this is just another piece from the kit. And then there's a piece of a scrap of the dyed paper that I made. And here I used magicals on these. More game board pieces, like I said. Some more Gothic words. So this is the second signature. And here is our son's Corona. There's eco-dyed fabric. And then I was going to glue this little piece down to the page, but I thought that I would just leave it in case you wanted to put it somewhere else or add something else to this page. This is just an envelope, and I've cut this one so that it's open on the top and the side, so you can slide something in there. Some more scraps. So this is a little paperclip charm, and it says potion. Down here I've stamped the word Health Heroes. And this is a little collaged envelope that I've made, and you can see here in the window there's a little screen. On the back of the envelope here, I've also collaged it, and it says dream, because I feel like people are dreaming of going outside again. So I just made this little tag, and again I've used the Tim Holtz snippy, snarky words, and I've used the screen to show that she's indoors. So maybe she's behind the screen door looking out of her window, and she's sitting in there with her little basket. And that's probably reminiscent of how a lot of our Easters went. And so here, sleep, because I feel like people are probably sleeping a lot more. Some more map page. These are some post-it sticky notes here in the shape of tickets. Some little sequence trim, and I like this because it has like the little beaded black flower here on the trim. So the next lyric is, come on, it's time for something biblical. So in here, just a journaling card. Another one here. And then some more of that acrylic paint paper. I put the little planner page in because if you're like me, you bought a planner for 2020 and what are we using it for? What are we planning? Tell me. You let me know down in the comments. What are you planning? So here, there's another Gothic word. And then there's another little letter tucked in here at the top. And then down here, a couple pieces. This is just a little coloring piece. Like I said, we're getting into more activities like, you know, people are just kind of rekindling with the things that they love to do, like cooking, for example. A lot of people are sharing recipes, which I think is really cool and fun. Actually, I was just sharing cookie recipes yesterday. I love this page. The little raven over here with the skull. You might have seen these. I've embossed these little tags, and I also used my Prima wax on them to give them like a metallic feel, and then just layered it up. Another jumbo tag. And I put the mustache here because I feel like haircuts are something that some people are struggling with, because they need a haircut and they can't get one. So here we go. This little image I love. So in here I just added some Grey's Anatomy pages. On this side I had these little ephemera pieces. It says it's going to be okay. And then you basically just go through and check off. It's like a checklist, basically. Oh, time is flying. I did a little vintage airmail stamp down here. So here, I printed these little journaling cards with the grid paper. I think that looks really pretty. This little envelope, I left it open so you can write inside of it. It's another tag. I think it's kind of interesting, like I was watching the documentary on Netflix about understanding COVID-19, and they were talking about how it could have come from a bat. So this is a little French waitress receipt. Takeout is a thing that a lot of people are doing to give some semblance of what we used to be able to do. Like people used to like to go out to eat and such. So here I have a little vintage photograph of this little man, and I felt like it might be a springtime event, and this looks like the kind of photo where you're leaving and they say, hey, wait, let me take a picture of you before you go. And so he stopped to take his picture. So some more post-it notes in eco-dyed fabric, and you can kind of see like some of the leaves and patterns that she's gotten on here. So here on this, I put this in because I thought that it would be another one of those forgotten loves that people had. So like I said, people are just, finding new ways to keep themselves entertained, new old ways maybe even. So this is some of that eco paper that you can print, or that you can write on and plant, and then seeds will grow from it. So I think these would actually be pretty neat, especially in a time like this, when it feels like, I don't know. I just think it would be something nice that you could do, write some kind of little note in these current times that we're in, and then have something grow of it. Haunting. Some of these I left open so that you can either glue them down and make a pocket, or you can use them for whatever you want. So here again, I just let it trail off like this. And then I thought that was actually pretty neat because it trails off, and it kind of reminds me of like the little, trails on the maps. So down here I have a little clipping. This is some more of that, the lady who draws. These are her renderings. And I thought that this was so perfect because this butterfly that she drew, if you can see this, really is like the pretty version of this bat. Like, look at the wings. Look at the wings. Look at the feet. So I thought that was like so perfect. So on the flowers, these are the Prima flowers, and I just dipped these, or actually I drizzled these with black acrylic paint. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm trying to go as fast as I can, but there's so much like little things, and I would hate to miss something because I'm trying to rush, So if you want to speed it up, just put it on fast forward and watch it that way. So here, another one of these pretty little journaling cards, and then I've got this little gal back here, and it says, "Yet the clothes grew too small." I think in a lot of the stores they've closed. Well, a lot of the stores here are closed, and then also in certain stores where they also sell clothing and other items, they've closed off the clothing section, so you can't get to the clothes. Another lyric to pull us through from the song, and then a couple of tags in here. Like some unearthly creature of a dream, she is. So here's where those little bead charms are. So just a little scrap that you can write on. And I stitched on some more of that mask fabric scrap and flowers. Then here's another letter. I put the little chair image on there because kind of like the guest check is a, you know, a symbol of like being able to eat out, but the chair is more like a home chair. So we're eating at home. We're eating out, but eating at home. This is a tuck spot. Some more of my acrylic paper back here. And then this little envelope, this was made after I was watching Crafty Sabby. I will link to her tutorial in the description box below, but I love these. These are like some envelopes that she shows you how to make, and they're modeled after an actual vintage piece of ephemera envelope that she actually obtained. And I did my little inside papers like really like uneven and different papers, obviously, because I wanted it to fit with the theme that I'm doing. Like I didn't want to cut them all perfectly, but what she shows you is really awesome. So I would definitely say check that out. So then it just all folds back up like so. Another Gothic word cluster, some more sticky notes. Skeleton guy. I left this pocket open just because you can fit more things in there that way, but if you want, you can glue it down. It's a little ominous. This little mini garden page, I thought this was kind of neat because it's prepare perennials for the worst. But it goes on to tell you how to just decrease the risk of rot-induced disease on this plant. So I thought that was pretty neat. So this one I glued down for a pocket. So here we've got, you only need one soap. Little vintage advertisement. And coupled with the dreaded. The next lyric, come on and change the course of history, and then some more scraps from those masks. There's another rendering that the lady drew out, and you can write on the back of this. It's just graph paper. These little tags I just wax seal with a little owl, and then I put a dried leaf on there with a feather. And this little is just an envelope paper scrap that I got from Daisy, and it's just latched over the side. I'm not going to pull it off though, it's just blank paper, but I love the way that she dyed it. put a little railway ticket in there from the Tim Holtz vellum pieces. So another big journaling card here. And then this one, again, I wanted it to seem like spring was being snuffed out. So really pretty and vibrant. But I can't think of the word. Confetti, I guess. And then I wrote the words dark spring inside of here. So it's just a shaker, basically. So here we have the little plague doctor and another journal card. So here this little flashcard says, help, help. It's a journaling card. And this is the end of the world. So here, this little booklet that Alicia made. Added that in here because it really matched. And then this is one of those self-contained envelope letter thingies. Okay, we're getting to the end here. There's one more jumbo tag in here with some weird images she added. And then here, this is another one that was inspired by Crafty Sabby. She shows you another style of envelope, and this is kind of like just a variation of what she shows you. But I lined the envelope with gardening paper, and then on the inside, these are some vintage medical papers. And I was almost going to get rid of this book, but I found, like they say, chemistry and medicine, discovery of vitamins, alleviation of suffering, and hope of mankind. So I thought those were pretty, kind of might be interesting to read through, just the little pages. Some more game cards. So another Gothic word here in the back. Oh, I forgot. There's my stamp. I couldn't find a place back here to add it. So here in the very back, we have a face mask. You can see the little plates here, and then the little elastic. Just kidding, it's not a face mask. It's a journaling card. So this is like a little tribute to all of the face masks that I made this past month. And so I thought it would be kind of fun and cute to make a little face mask journaling card. Because face masks are really being required like pretty much everywhere now. So I thought that was kind of fun. So that is one of the last elements here in the book, aside from this little lady here telling you to wash your hands often. So, okay, I know that was super long, but I mean, the book is giant, you guys, so can you really blame me? I tried to go as fast as I could and start talking a little less. So I'm going to flip through the Traveler's Notebook much faster. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one. All right, gang. Traveler's Notebook. I'm going to go a lot faster. Here I have Make Today Count. And then we have the same little spring lady. I do have, the charm is a little different on this one. I just attached a little safety pin with some different little spring charms and the little Tim Holtz token that says breathe for obvious reasons. And I've just used Sorry Silk as the closure. So on this book, I have made it a little bit darker on the cover. So there's a little bit more black. So we have black feathers here, a little bit of black ruffle, black little flowers. And then I just twirled up the little piece there. There's some black lace going around. And then I've added this little element here to the back on this one. And I also toned down the brightness of the actual fabric by adding some black paint over it, just to give it a little bit more of a snuffled out look. So the face mask, the little face mask is right here in the front, but it's really just a journaling card. This is the color of the fabric as it actually is, so you can see the difference in the brightness. And these are vintage fabrics on this book. So here I wrote the word, or I stamped out spring, question mark, because is it? Is this spring? Spring is unlike we've ever seen it, I will say. So I've used the Gothic letters in here as well. A lot of similar elements. So I'm just going to shimmy on through. This token says wicked. There's the little envelope. But this book is using just the Creepy Spring digital kit. I love it so much. She actually designed that kit after I had a swap in my Facebook group where I had everyone do creepy critters. And so Priscilla had actually gotten inspired, and she's like, I can make a little mini kit for Creepy Spring based off of this. So there's Health Heroes. So I was like, that would actually be really awesome. So these little Tim Holtz dolls, they were actually connected. So I've cut them apart so that they are socially distanced. And you might have seen me post that book I posted on my Instagram. So I thought it was kind of funny. Just when I saw these little dolls, I was like, hey, they're supposed to be 6 feet apart. So another one of those pages from Daisy, and then I just collaged on it. There's the little airplane for this book. Declare this an emergency. So the lyrics carry on into this book, like I said. Come on and spread a sense of urgency. There's a little owl charm there. I just stapled this on, but he looked so melancholy sitting there. But he has to sit kind of far from her. So here's the center of the book. I left this long in case you wanted to add something to it. Here's the little envelope for this book. And pull us through. Did I miss something in the other book? Because I feel like I did. Like, I feel like some of the stuff that's in there I didn't show you. Well, this is in the other book also, but this says anxiety. I think I started rushing too much. So here they are, also socially distanced. These dolls were actually connected originally, but I cut them apart and put social distancing. So here, this is the little EO People tag for this book. There's my stamp. There's the Grey's Anatomy pages. There's the little gal. This is the little envelope piece. This is the little vintage photo for this book, but I thought that was really cute because it's like obviously warm outside and he looks like he's probably running through the sprinklers or something. This little vintage postcard. It says to wish you a happy Easter, and it's from 1908. And the postcard is from a cousin writing to her cousin, obviously, letting her know that their aunt is feeling much better. Also, stamps were only 1 cent. 1 cent in 1908. So that is this book. So, you know, we went through that one really fast, but like I said, a lot of the same elements are in it. So, yeah. All right, so those are the two. And I'm going to have these up in my Etsy shop. So if you would like to take a look, they will be there until they're not. As far as shipping goes, I don't have to really leave my house to get items shipped out. I have a pretty good arrangement with my post lady, and so I'm not terribly worried about that. All right, I think that is pretty much everything. I know this video was really long, and I appreciate you guys for hanging in there with me and spending a little bit of time flipping through this, and at least, you know, just looking at some of the things that we're able to document in this crisis. So yeah, I was going to also say, in April, I decided to start making those masks because I wasn't feeling like making any books. And I think all of this was starting to get me down. And so making masks was a way to kind of like put my mind into a zone where you can be a little bit of help and not feel hopeless, you know, when you don't have crafting mojo. But I also feel like ultimately, personally, I don't want to shun something forever. I want to address it head on and say, hey, you know, it's kind of like when you go to bed at night and you're like, I'm afraid of the dark. So one night you sleep with the lights off, and what do you know? The next morning you wake up and you're okay. Same idea with these. So that is all I have to say, and I know this video is really long, but I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. We'll be back soon with the prompts for May, for Prompt Week 2020. So that is going to wrap it up for me for now. Be sure to stay tuned, because you never know what direction this odd flock of ours is heading into. And until next time, toodaloo.